Good morning. Good morning. I think we're live. I think did it start? I can't. I think we started.
It
I think we
says live,
started.
yes.
That's right. Good. We're live. It's I can't see the day. My eye is still messed up. But it's Coffee Talk. This is a banter talk show about a lot of fun stuff. I'm prepping here. I write notes that I can't see for later in my interview. What this show is about, trending topics. But I got to talk. We have a doctor on the show. I had a problem this morning. I had a bad dream.
Uh-oh.
Oh. I had a bad dream. I was dreaming that I was on a vacation and sharing a room with this guy, and you annoyed me in my dream. You're a complete moron. That's all I got to start the show.
It's Coffee Talk with ADIKA. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here with Stefan and all his friends.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You bothered me in my dream, Leventon.
I had a bad dream too.
Did you really?
I dreamed, yes, I dreamed that I co-hosted a talk show watched by 20 people that pays me $17 a month.
Yeah. You're real funny, Leventon.
$17 a month more than I got.
Yeah. Who's paying you $17 a month anyway? Where you getting? I want to sign up for that gig.
Mitch Weissman and Kid
Yeah.
pay me. I guess it's $9 or $8.50 each. Thank you guys so much. Without you, I wouldn't have anything. I had a new Patreon, but see, it's so funny. My Patreons are so rare that now I think the new Patreon might be a troll.
Oh, maybe they do that. They do that a lot. Yeah, I'm hoping one day I could just get this show to rock and roll and really, make it so I could really make fun of everybody the right way and not the broke way. But in the meantime,
not the broke way.
I'll do it this way. I'm wearing my glasses not because I'm better than you guys on the show. So my eye is still messed up. It's been hell. It's been torturous. And instead of me canceling the show, I'd rather you people watch me suffer and I make you suffer listening to me. So check out what's going on in the world today. Our friend Eddie Munster made the news. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, no. It's crazy. I didn't even know about it. But do you realize I put you guys in jail? Like, we know somebody. Look back in this episode, right over here. I don't want to play the whole episode, but I'll put a link above here, and you could click on it. I'll probably re-edit it because there's a bunch of people that I don't really address that I don't want to give them the privilege.
Time is so cruel. He looks like Ronald Reagan and Brian Wilson.
Equal. Right. I was in like all the scenes with them. They were like supposedly babysitting me, except I was like a really old kid who had old ways about him, and they were more like the kids, and I was more like the adult. And they were teaching me about Christmas. So anyway, I had a wonderful week and remained friends with them all. Mike not so much because Mike got out of it, but I would see Davey. We were always good friends. Peter, I saw Peter a lot
about the monkeys.
Until his passing, and now Mickey and I do stuff. I got some.
Now here's the thing with him. That was last May we did that show. Isn't that crazy how time flies by? Well, in the news, if I could find the link right here, he's accused of
Get the fuck.
Whoa.
Yes. That's a crazy story. Butch Patrick accused of murder. Now the story goes, there was I can't read. I had it all written down. I could read it. Apparently, this woman shot her husband. Okay, around 2006, 2005. I got the notes in here. I just can't see it, but I'm going to give you the Stefan version of the story. Supposedly, she shot her husband. And they're saying because he had multiple insurance policies. Now, this lady that shot her husband, she's on trial. Well, they called him in because they're saying that, the husband he had situations going on where he was maybe scamming people. So 5 other people are included maybe of putting this conspiracy murder together. And they're trying to lure, he's one of the 5. How could that be when she shot him? Well, his mother did an investment with the lady's husband, the husband who was murdered with 4 other people. She lost $10,000. It was like a real estate investment, and he somehow got caught and got in trouble. And he did. He scammed these people. She lost her money, never got her money back. The Butch Patrick, Butch Cassidy. I sound like a reporter like you, Corey, not knowing my facts, because we'll get on that later. Well, anyway, he got called in for this because maybe he was part of the whole take me down, take him down, I'll get your money back kind of conspiracy thing. And that's the sum of the story. I hope I made sense of it. But this lady shot her husband, and he is allegedly, he didn't know nothing about it. One day he was somewhere and in the Inquirer or something, they said, Butch Patrick, there's a title that murdered or, suspect.
So how was he implicated?
Yeah.
Somehow the jury they brought him in. Let me see if I could read this to you right here. It's
But
pretty
he's
crazy.
not-
Yeah, it seems
A
pretty
suspect.
peripheral. Yeah.
It does. Hold on.
Oh, so that's just a headline trick. Somebody accused him of murder, but it's not any government entity.
No. Here, child actor known for playing Eddie Munster testifies in murder trial after defense suggests he was behind. Okay, right.
Yeah, the defense
the
suggested
defense
that
behind
because
the
the defense
crime.
is saying anything to
Right.
to get its client cleared.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. The
Oh,
ex. I can't.
That guy, my client didn't murder her.
Hold on.
Maybe Eddie Munster did. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden the headlines.
Hold on,
Right.
Corey. I'm going to need your help because it's hard for me to read this right now because it's all blurry.
It's a bullshit story.
No, it's a real story. He's in trial. That picture was from the
It's
trial.
a real story.
Well,
Where is it
he's
from?
not on trial. He's testifying at a
He's
trial.
testifying. He's a testifying.
Yeah.
Here. Law and crime. That's a legit thing. Here, I just sent it to you. Look at your
No,
thing
it's
and read
not.
it.
That's just something that someone made up
No.
in their bedroom.
It's enough.
War
there's-
and crime?
yeah, but
No,
there's
it's
more.
a bullshit website.
Here, look.
It's not
look on your
legitimate
thing.
media.
Look at you. You're upset that somebody has a story and you can't find nothing.
I'm upset that you don't know what you're talking about.
No, read it right now. Read it right now.
That's an illegitimate media website.
Okay.
War and crime doesn't exist.
Okay, let me show you the other site it's on. But open up your Facebook Messenger right now and look at it, please. And just read that, and I'm going to show you the other one that it's on. Okay, watch this. I mean, hey, there's a lot.
Crime
of
and war?
things out there. Watch this. Hold on, Leviton. You got it?
Law and crime.
Law and crime. Yeah. Do you have it? Sent in your Facebook
A
Messenger.
Dan Abrams production. Some guy named Dan Abrams.
All right. No, this Jerry.
Yes.
Jerry Lamb wrote it.
Oh, Dan Abrams.
I don't know
would
who
be
Jerry
the
Lamb
money
is.
Behind the
Well, read
person.
it. Can you just read it?
No.
All right. Anyway, he's like fucking useless, Corey. Anyway, this is also on CBS. Look, TV reported it as well, right here. So Corey's already hanging me and telling me it's fake news. Other people reported
Yeah,
it.
it is fake news. This is how people fall for it.
Right.
They
It was
just-
on TV news.
Yeah, but they fell for it too. They just
Right.
they don't care. TV news has spots to fill, so
Right.
they'll just troll the internet.
This is kind of a perfect example of how some of the myths behind the vaccine, the coronavirus vaccine, spread out. Somebody says, "Oh my gosh, it's changing your DNA," and before you know it, everybody says that.
Exactly, Doc. We agree.
The thing.
Stefan, show me things from the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street
Right.
Journal,
If you see, okay. Well, maybe
The Atlantic,
I'm not saying it's
LA
real
Times,
news or
Atlanta
not.
Constitution.
Okay,
Times
why don't you do
Picayune.
this, Corey? Just shut your mouth for a second. Why don't we do this? It might not be. He probably didn't do the killing, but they're trying to wrap him up in the case somehow. But I will say this: the woman definitely did shoot her husband.
Right.
The guy that got murdered, he was wrapped up with scamming different people, and Eddie Munster's mother was one of the people that got ripped off from this guy who was no good, and she wanted the insurance. That's a real story.
So the defense
Now
said
this is the
maybe
defense
it was
trying
Eddie
to lure.
Munster. 'cause
This,
Right.
his
this is the
mom-
defense
yeah.
trying to lure him into it and make more of a
Right.
scene out of it. Okay.
Of
Okay.
course.
All right.
We
So
agree on
before
all
you
that.
saying it's fake news, somebody was murdered. Nobody's saying he did it, but he's accused of. They're trying to drag him into it. But out of real news and fake news, Leviton, you are a complete moron. You'd say that the woman got shot with Alec Baldwin. We went back. The other
No. That was
episode.
my information. And if I wrote a
You're
story,
complete wrong. You're just
Yeah.
as bad as the fake news. He's a complete idiot. See what happens? He's
See,
just
he had
a-
read a similar story to me, but
Yeah, but
you
he-
can share different versions of it.
No.
But yes, exactly.
He's going so nuclear this morning that I come up with a story that it's a real story. A person did get killed. I'm not saying Eddie Munster's
Right.
the murderer, but this complete doofus that I have on the show is fighting with me And he said, this thing, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. He's a complete moron. Joanne, why the hell are you with this idiot? He's an idiot. Deb Jackson.
That is the eternal question, actually, there.
If there was any insurance, Deb Jackson, me and you would go after him.
I'm an idiot who knows how to say the word nuclear.
Look at him. Look at him. Good. I don't care.
Going nuclear.
He's going nuclear. Who gives a shit? Look at you. You're a complete moron. Tell us your story. She got shot in the face. Instantly, she died. You left the whole story out. She was in the chest, and she said she couldn't feel her legs. Go ahead, Corey. Tell the story now.
No, all that came out later because the witnesses came out. But my story was from a friend of a friend of the cinematographer who was told that. So it was inaccurate. That's what happens that's why you shouldn't go to press when something just happens, because you don't know all the facts.
Right.
This isn't press.
You sure act
we do
like
an
you know all the
entertainment
facts.
show.
You sure know you acted all the facts. Oh, I know something.
No, if I were writing for a
well,
newspaper,
you know what? We'll go back to that
facts,
episode.
okay?
We'll go back to that episode. You had the same face that you
I had
had
the
here.
wrong.
Annoying. Right. There. It's annoying. Annoying face. Look at him. I can't do nothing.
I think this is the thing. Same with Corey. When we get into things, he's just passionate about the things he believes in. And in this case, I think the key point that goes to a lot of things is look at the websites where you get these informations. Are they real places? And be careful about.
You better listen, Dr. G over there. You better settle down too. I'll fix your wagon in a second.
I figured you would.
I'm going to get you two together.
But it's much more interesting to say, Eddie Munster killed somebody.
It is. Listen, Corey can't get. He has 1,000 people on Facebook.
It matters who accuses you.
Yeah.
If it's just some housewife and not
defense attorney.
Not a defense
attorney.
We're
going to get Eddie Munster on the show again and talk about this. I didn't accuse him. I'm just saying what the papers are saying. That's why I like to bring these people on here. Right. But in sad news, we lost the father of Tony Manero. He passed away at 95 years old. Saturday Night Fever actor. Yeah.
Good for him.
He lived a good long life.
Right.
And then sad news. The Joan Rivers shows, they're not going forward with the Comeback Girl.
Do you know who Mort Saul is? Do you even know who Mort Saul was?
No, I don't. Tell me who.
Oh my God.
Tell me.
Mort Saul only invented stand-up comedy in the 50s.
All right. So did you
he died at 94, a nice ripe old age. Maybe it was 95. I don't know. I don't have my facts straight right now. I'm not a liar.
What he invented? What did he do? Tell me about malt salsa. Tell me. Tell us. Stand-up
comics, and it goes back to vaudeville. They would stand up and they would tell jokes. Hey, a guy walks into a bar. Blah 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 blah. Hey, take my wife.
I can't handle him. I really can't handle him in the morning. My dreams came. It totally came true.
He's in your dreams. He's in your morning show. It's almost a continuum right now.
It's ridiculous. Let me get him started. Corey, what are you drinking? You have some coffee? Come on, Corey. What about that? Dr. G, what about that? What's he drinking?
Multi-grain kombucha.
Okay. And if you look, it says accused. He didn't do the murder, Leviton. Accused.
Yeah, but who's he accused by? If he's accused by a district attorney,
why don't you read it? Read it. I'm just saying, that's the exact headline that they wrote, and I took it and I put it up here.
It's misleading. It's called clickbait. Yeah. And it worked with you.
Yeah. Well, it worked with me, but at least we know he didn't do it. What are you cleaning now? You nervous? We
shouldn't have even been worried that he did it because
what about the vax for the kids? How do you feel about this, Dr. G?
Again, no.
What, Leviton? The doctor's talking. Just please, when the man who's educated talks, you just shush. What
very
about this,
briefly,
Dr. G?
everybody, this is only proven to create antibodies. The vaccine in that age group has almost no risk to benefit ratio, and that group has almost no mortality, almost no hospitalizations, and I'm talking about 0.001%. So when you look at even the hospitalization rate for complications in vaccines in the 12 to 17-year-old, you're talking about vastly higher rates of hospitalizations and complications from getting the vaccine as compared to getting coronavirus. And so we're talking about a risk to benefit ratio that simply doesn't add up. And the things that really has to scare us is even before it's approved, Biden authorizes 56 million, to buy it. So when it gets, I think it's to sometime this week, it's going to go through a quote-unquote approval process, which is clearly preordained, has nothing to do with any form of authorization whatsoever. It's preordained that they're going to authorize this. And by the way, based on what amounts to a phase 2 clinical trial where they've done antibody testing, proving that you can do a third dose of the Pfizer vaccine and get antibodies, which, again, I'm not disagreeing with. And so on that order, do we have any proof that it actually prevents complications? Does it prevent disease? What will be the long-term effects of this? We have no idea. And then we're just going to throw that at our kids. That's actually, to me, almost criminal. I mean, in terms of how bad of an idea it is.
Okay, we've been to this before. We disagree. While the doctor,
there he goes. You're going to
the
fight
doctor
with the
is correct that it's arguable whether it has a risk to benefit ratio that's positive for the kids themselves, because it's a low risk of getting infected in the first place. But my argument is that kids spread it to other people, and this is their kids are spreading it to older adults and killing older adults. So this is a way of stopping that, of trying to get more of the population
I'm weird.
vaccinated.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not comfortable about my daughter getting it, and it's like I feel like my hands are tied behind my back on this one. I mean, I got the vax,
And I did too.
and I'm gonna, I'll do the booster, but it's just to put this in my
But
child.
once again, this is like taking no scientific evidence to potential kill children to save 60-year-old anti-vaxxers. Again, that's not necessarily brilliant, because again, that's sacrificing children for the sake of something else. We actually know, and it's 100% certainty, due to the mutational rate of this virus, are we going to be able to develop a herd immunity that works because of the failing effects of the vaccination over time? We know we cannot get herd immunity. Now, are there going to be cases where a kid gets it, probably even asymptomatic, and they could spread it to somebody who is even vaccinated? Now, if they're vaccinated and they're doing the right things, they're not going to get complicated disease. If they're not vaccinated, then they could have a problem. But once again, this goes into they made a choice not to be vaccinated. Let them deal with the consequences of their choices. Okay, because that's their choice. Just like the person who drinks.
That's a very attractive argument. Let the people who don't get the vaccine die.
I didn't say die. I said
not great
deal
for
with the
humanity.
consequence of their choices.
Go ahead,
Okay.
go after the doctor now.
If somebody smokes, they are making a choice.
You know we
If
disagree
somebody
on
drinks
this. That's one of
Coca-Cola,
the
they
five
are
things
making a
that you know
choice.
in life. So you
Okay.
put us, you pitted us against each
So
other.
I didn't pin you against each other, Geraldo.
No, I think
Go ahead.
again, I think this is
you
News.
moron.
This is news.
Right.
This is news,
Well,
you idiot.
Again, the area that it's difficult because
Idiot.
I would say Corey knows more about reporting, and I know more
No,
about
Dr. G,
medicine.
stop.
So
He does, no, stop.
okay,
You're a doctor. You're a man of brains. He doesn't know about reporting. Look at him. He's a moron.
and so Corey knows about whatever Corey knows about.
Nothing. He knows about trouble. He's a troublemaker. Look, he's all fidgeting. He's all
But
fidgeting.
that's the problem. Like would be whatever website people go to, whether it's the Eddie Munster killing somebody or the vaccine stuff. What the idea right now is that it's unequivocal that there is no phase 3 clinical trials that have be completed on these kids, that is being authorized with absolutely no thought of foresight because we're buying the vaccines before authorized. The Governor Newsom is frickin' mandating it before it's ever authorized because we know it's going to be authorized. Why is that? Because our current FDA's, our current CDC has no care whatsoever about actually studying this. Okay, they just want to get it out there because the thing that sells the most vaccines is the fear thing, which is the fear. Oh my gosh, those kids are going out and killing older people. That's how it's getting sold. So Corey has just been clickbaited into thinking it's a good idea.
Clickbait, Corey.
It's
hold
exactly
on.
what's happened to everybody, and
Clickbait.
everybody out
Corey?
there now.
Corey,
And
look
then,
at that.
of course, who do these mandates affect? They affect people who can't afford to do private schooling at whatever. So, of course, the 5 to 11-year-olds are going to be mandated. Do you get the vaccine for the kid just because you have to make money and have to send your kid to school? You don't have the options to do the homeschooling and the other types of things. So this is once again a vaccine that gets authorized, which is another attack on the poor of our country. Whether it's anti-abortion, whether it's abortion laws, whether it's things, these are unequivocally unequivocally affecting the poor more so than the rich, because the rich can choose to get an abortion wherever they want. The rich can choose to homeschool or do whatever else they want.
Corey?
So this is just another mandate taking down people with and this socioeconomic inequality issue that we have in our country. So
No, he's not winning. He's expressing his opinion that I don't agree with. I'm
Right.
choosing just not to make this an episode of Hardball, and
Right.
I'm choosing not to be the one
Right.
representing
Right.
science.
All right.
Sorry.
it's funny, his complete lack of looking at science is supposedly him supporting science. That's hilarious. Okay. And that's another interesting argument from someone who is refusing to look at science, says that's the way I support science. That is a bizarre, and so because anytime you do something away from what the CDC says, supposedly it's not supposed to be science, which is exactly the opposite of the truth.
All right,
is
Corey.
science tells us not to do this actually vaccine in this grids. It's just going to be a popular mandate. Okay,
Let's see what the
because
people
of
in the audience
his argument.
say over here. All right, let's see what's going on here. Hey, Corey, here you got a message here. Somebody wants to talk to you.
God, I don't feel like playing.
All right. You upset? What's the matter? What's the matter, Corey? Everybody's talking about the dog, Corey. Look at you.
Yeah, bring the dog in.
Come here.
It's like, what's the matter? All right. Well, Corey, you have nothing to say to the doctor on this subject, but this is.
I don't
but-
want to sit here and argue.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there really isn't an argument.
You got no
Everything I'm
prob-
saying
you
is
have no
actually
pro- I just have-
factually
I have a
represented.
question. I just have
It's
a-
just
just a-
the truth. And
Just
so,
a question.
What do you
So
think?
you have no problem with your kid getting the vax. You're just all about it, right?
Right.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I wanted to get her vaxxed illegally. I tried to get some doctors to do it several months ago.
Because that's scientific.
No, it's not. It's a psychological thing. What
That's what we're talking about. That's what you're dealing with, Corey, is your own psychology. I agree.
Well, in a way, when you're fighting an enemy that you can't see, when you don't know who has COVID and who doesn't, you don't know where the COVID
You're saying
is.
I. How about Joanne? Joanne's on board, and your daughter's on
Yeah.
board with all the whole
Yeah.
family.
But
yeah.
you guys have developed it into a monster because of essentially left-wing media who sells it as a monster that everybody has to vaccinate against. Like you are hopeless and helpless against it. But if you take care of yourself and you do your nutrients and you do the things you're supposed to, this is next to a meaningless infection for younger people. And the risk to benefit ratio changes based upon the complication rate of the disease. This is just science, okay? And so when you start vaccinating more and more kids or any group, by the way, that has a low complication rate, you really have to seriously look at the risk to benefit ratio and actually study it even more, not less, which is what is occurring right now. And it's really fear that's going in, and it is experimental.
But that's
and
the same thing with the adult vaccines.
adult vaccines
they
had
have-
proof of
they have-
efficacy,
the
so it's not the
trial-
same thing at all. The
they're
adult
emergency
vaccines had
use.
proof of efficacy,
They're not
decreasing
approved by
rates
the
of
FDA.
infection.
Well, they were approved by the FDA.
Well, the Pfizer was just approved by the FDA after the EUA. So when it seemed like more early on, when we knew less, we actually had to treat it as more of an emergency. Now that we're almost 2 years into this thing, you'd have to say, well, gosh, we're 2 years in. Is this an emergency anymore, or is this something we at least have some understanding of? And so do we have to keep treating it like an emergency? Because an EUA to get a vaccine that hasn't had any clinical efficacy proven is treating it like an emergency when it's no longer an emergency. It's something for us to pay attention to. And so
When
now,
you talk to a guy who makes his kids wear 20 masks and his wife wear 40 masks on the plane, I mean,
right. But
come
that's
on.
part of the
He was washing the
psychological
groceries.
horror of this disease.
I don't
which
do
is
that
it's-
anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
he was washing the groceries.
So
It's
were
like,
you liar.
I didn't. I did it one time because you know, I followed you like a moron.
Right.
I acted like a moron.
Right.
I followed the moron. You know,
But we
you
we
hang
want
with
everybody.
morons,
There's
become a
so
moron.
many things out in the world that are essentially even more dangerous than coronavirus, and so, but I don't want people like sitting around thinking about them. It's like when I have patients who have high blood pressure, there's certain ones that I say, listen, you really just can't measure your blood pressure at home because they become obsessed with it. It's all they're
Yeah.
doing. Their entire life
true.
becomes measuring their blood pressure. So I
That's true.
said, please stop measuring it because you got to live, you know. And so, but most people I say, listen, if you can check your blood pressure, you know, once a night, you know, 3 or 4 days a week, and give me some numbers to work with, that's by far make the dog wear a mask. It's an ugly dog. I mean, especially if it's a bulldog. it's that time of year. Anyways, and so, so there are reasons to make your dog wear a mask.
What
Anyways,
about trick or treating? Does your kid go trick or treating, Corey? Or you gave up on
yeah,
that?
what are you going to do this year?
No.
No, stop living, huh?
Yeah.
You know, but that's my hope, everybody, is if we can use science to get people past the fear. What's happening now is you have one group using anti-science to become anti-vaxxers, which means they don't understand that there is a role for vaccines. There's another group that's selling this disease as more dangerous than it is. That's the only way you can convince people to, without any evidence, vaccinate children. And they're selling it in a way, and it's being sold. There's not exactly.
Dr. G, this one in Europe, is this true?
It didn't get pulled. They had authorized it for the 12 to 17-year-olds. There seems to be a higher rate of myocarditis in the 12 to 17-year-olds who get Moderna even versus Pfizer. So they pulled Moderna for the under 17 crowd, okay, which once again points to the potential complications of these vaccines once they get out into the real world, because we know that the studies are not intended to really find complications rates. They're intended to minimize complication rates so that they can get authorized.
Did you know that, Corey?
And so, but I have not recommended vaccines under 18 to anybody, by the way, because it doesn't make clinical sense. And so now, do I want people to have the choice to? If you want to vaccinate your kid, I'm not saying I don't want to allow you to do that, because that would be like a mandate, mandating you do it or mandate you don't do it. Get the evidence. When you see certain governments saying, "Wow, we really shouldn't do Moderna under 18," does it make sense that the vaccine with the higher levels of antibodies, that the higher levels of response, actually has a higher rate of myocarditis in the especially male adolescent patients?
Your argument
is
is that
yes.
we need to give up on the concept of herd immunity because we're never going to get there. My argument is mandate everybody to get the vaccine everywhere, and then we have the hope again. And that's what we're starting to do. And the
that is
far
fear-based authoritarian bullshit thinking. Sorry, Corey. It cannot
you
work.
Need to be you need vaccinations to get into public school. You need vaccinations to go to foreign countries.
Oh, mandates exist, but mandates will start happening for everything.
Fascism. That's public health.
It is fascist thinking that creates that. Yes.
Nope.
Yeah, you're
and
wrong.
I'm all in favor of vaccinating everybody.
Because actually, the Nazis started off with forced vaccinations to forced sterilizations to concentration camps. So absolutely, that argument is true. Safety. Now, do I want to go back to authoritarian governments where they prohibit life for Jews? No, that's the other side of this. Okay, which is the misogyny and the xenophobia of the right. To now we have the left side using the same authoritarian thinking, mandating because we know what's best for you. And they don't. They know what we can sell to you.
You mandate vaccines to get into public school. We've done that for decades. We mandate vaccines to go to some foreign countries.
And the places that have some intelligence allow for exceptions to that, because there should be exceptions to that. When it's mandated without exceptions, religious, personal reasons, or whatever else like that, then you have an authoritarian state. In California, we have an authoritarian state.
Public health is a good enough reason to be authoritarian.
And that's the cruelty that launches the proverbial 1,000 ships. I mean, so that's a form of cruelty that you have the right to believe in, by the way.
There is a danger of fascism in this country. This is not coming from the left. And we almost had the government taken over on January 6th.
I agree. And the same kind of thinking that creates the insurrection is the kind of thinking that makes you think you can force people to inject medicines into their body.
You can't force them. Just choose not to. Don't make any money. You can't make any money without doing it.
Yeah,
you can't
which is going to force the poor into this and not the rich. So once again, you're following into the yeah. Let's attack the poor people is what Corey's saying, and let the rich do whatever they want, because that's what he just said.
Levinton. Yeah.
People who are uninformed happen to be poor. That's Trump's base. That's how come he succeeded.
Again, there's a lot of reasons behind that. That I'm going to agree with. And so, but that's because people choose to misinform themselves doesn't make them bad people. And it just makes them misinformed, which is the key component to this, everybody, which is there are a lot of misinformed people out there, okay? And they exist on both the left and the right. Has the right been better at misinforming people? They are better at using the fear tactics. They just are better at misinformation. And so the left is trying to catch up, okay? But that's not necessarily what we're looking for, And so is this battle of tactical misinformation. Tactical misinformation is used to sell fear. Fear is what sells things. Okay, it's sex and fear. Everybody knows that's the marketing techniques. And so I want everybody to kind of help see through this illusion, and I don't think you see how cruel it is, Corey, for you to want to mandate forced injectable medicines to people, because then there'll be forced sterilizations. Then because we don't. That's the eugenics. That's the eugenics. It's just still out there, by the way. Well, no, you're not smart enough. You don't have the IQ to propagate. Boom. And so. And again, I agree with. Of course, I agree with Canada.
The method is similar. Doesn't the intent
It's
is
the
all that matters. It's public health. It's
Right.
it's
And
saving
the
millions of people at the
people
expense
that want
of
that will
100
claim
or
to
200.
save you, those are the same people that are taking away women's rights because they're claiming to save a fetus. They don't give a rat's ass about the fetus. They care about misogyny, and so they just sell it as caring about a fetus, which they really don't. Or we'd have widespread, childcare and healthcare and all these other things if we cared about fetuses who became people. So is it really just a sales pitch? Of course it is, okay? They don't care about fetuses. They sell themselves as being pro-life, and of course they're not. They're just misogynists, okay?
Shaking,
So it's the same concept. This group is selling to you like they care about you. They don't. They care about selling vaccines. They don't care about public health. You just think they do, and that's how you justify the cruelty. And this is how the cruelties get justified to everybody. They claim to come from a higher place. I claim that God tells me that your uterus is my private domain, and then they believe that, and before you know it, they want to be in your uterus. Okay, the proverbial elephant in the womb, and they're there. Okay, now still, and what she's saying here, in terms of the 2 jabs, is also part of the issue, is that do the vaccines wane in efficacy? Yes. Are you going to get herd immunity, which is what that comes down to? No, you're not. And every scientist knows you're not. Okay, so that justification that we're going to just vaccinate kids and force them to is a kind of forced cruelty. Even though the idea that it's that classic path to hell being paved with good intentions, you're just on a path to hell, Corey. And I believe you that you have good intentions behind it, but it doesn't make you right. It just means you're one of the people who are paving the path to hell with good intentions.
No, I mean that was a great speech, but we don't agree.
And I understand, but you actually have so little information, whereas I do, that your opinion literally has very little purpose in this because you don't have a scientifically educated opinion about it. Just like I don't have an educated opinion.
With me.
No, they don't. Not a single
yes.
one.
Well,
No,
Corey,
scientists don't. So that's the whole point, is you
have like
duped
a
yourself
phone-
into thinking that.
They
Okay,
agree with you. Do you speak
Right.
with them on the phone, Corey?
right.
They agree with.
I
They
can't
call
get
you
into
up
how
on
I interact.
and you're-
I can't get into how I interact with scientists.
Right.
What, dude?
No, actually,
Tell us.
real
Tell us,
doctors
Bobby,
who understand medicine understand that why these things occur. And for many of them, they still think, well, gosh, do I wish more people would get the coronavirus vaccine? So let's go to that. Of course, I wish especially adults. Do I recommend it for people over 18? Yes, I do. There are some people who would argue, no, not until over 35 if you look at the risk to benefit ratio. And because once again, we should care about the individual as well as the group. If we're harming children at the expense of helping 60-year-old anti-vaxxers, again, let the person who decides to make a choice, whether it's Coca-Cola, not getting a vaccine, smoking, running across freeways, there's going to be consequences to their actions. So we cannot help them. Okay, they have to help themselves, and we get them the best information possible. But I want to be clear: forcing people to do things is going to get the exact opposite results. You'll just get pushback.
The bottom line is, I'm worried. I don't know for my child.
I don't know either.
That's what my concern is.
Right.
It's everything.
You're somebody
I do,
who believes that
Wait,
kids
hold on, Doctor
vaccinated for
Scientist.
MMR
Wait,
and
hold on. He's an idiot. The first thing, I'm just more worried for my child, and my child comes first. Where I live, how I do my things, what I do, and you know what? What I put into her, I feel like I'm being forced. I'm not comfortable with doing it. That's where I stand. I'm not comfortable with it.
And there should be a role for people who, if they say, listen,
Dr. Frankenstein over
the science isn't a consensus. There's unequivocally a consensus that there is no proof of efficacy of this vaccine because there is absolutely none out there. There's proof of antibody levels, which again, I'm not disagreeing with. Could it have a benefit? It could, okay? But would I mandate and jabbing medicines into kids without more evidence than that, no, I would wait for more evidence.
That's how I feel, and I agree with you. The doctor,
Because it could be worse, and
that
of
last
course I
sentence.
could be wrong. It could be the right thing to do, but that's where we're standing.
Yeah,
Is it could be the right thing to
It could be the
do.
right thing to do. I'm not saying
Mandating
it's the
it
wrong
before you
thing.
know
But
it's
you'll
the right thing to
But you will
do is the
recommend
danger.
ivermectin before it's approved by the FDA's CDC,
Because
World and WHO, before it has clinical trials finished. You'll recommend that, but you don't recommend mandates for
Because
vaccines.
everything you just said again about not having the clinical evidence is there, okay, and there's literally hundreds of studies across the world showing its effectiveness. There is currently being developed as a drug right now in our country, and it'll become common knowledge that it's the greatest thing in the world once somebody can make hundreds of dollars on it. And so,
Yeah.
going back to the marketing aspect of it, and
Many of
furthermore,
those trials
the
were
idea.
retracted.
Many, but not all. That's true for almost anything. Okay, so once again, the key is the criteria. Ivermectin has 50 years of use in human as one of the safest drugs of all time. Oops, there's one piece of evidence. We know it has in vitro activity, and we have hundreds of studies across the world showing dramatic improvements in mortality. So something safe that could be used in the middle of a pandemic that should have gotten an EUA already because of the kind of evidence that's out there, but it hasn't because there's no money to be made in it. And have I had, again, at this point, dozens upon dozens upon dozens of cases where ivermectin has been dramatically successful, more successful than almost anything I've ever used as an anti-infective agent, which you don't have any experience in because you're not a doctor, okay? And so, and of course it's anecdotal, yeah. And I at least have anecdotal evidence. You have nothing, okay? You have nothing but fear. And that's a difference. I have science. I have roots of efficacy. I have anecdotal experience, and it's saving lives, which you don't seem to care about because the government doesn't care, and you don't seem to care why they don't care, okay? Which is again part of the issue in the world out there. Something proven safe in humans for 50 years that gets called. I agree with Joe Rogan. He should actually go after CNN for still calling it, horse dewormer. Let Joe go after those people because you know what? He's right. And we were joking the other day about how he must have been listening to me because the assholes on CNN who are calling it horse dewormer are actually trying to create a mythology around something which was a human medicine prescribed by a doctor to another human. Okay. Now, why did they do that? It's to sell the fear that Corey has about ivermectin and force the idea of getting vaccines. Okay. And because it's the only thing you can do. Because if you have something that was commercially available, because everybody out there should know that protocol that we've put out there, and we would save lives after lives, from that. So we don't need to do mandated vaccines when there's effective therapies, including for our children.
There's a real problem in the media these days. CNN seems to, and MSNBC seem to have taken up a "if you can't beat Fox, join them" kind of attitude. Where
I agree.
Half of what's on the air aren't objective reporting. It's people with their opinions, and the public can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
but they need the ratings because they have to fill their pockets. And it's destroying news
the
and
world.
The public's information,
It
and
is.
the public's ability to digest information. I absolutely agree with you on that. But is that CNN's fault? Is CNN the only one to blame, or is it Fox's fault for making CNN like that? I think it's more Fox's fault. Fox News just killed everything.
Fox has been using tactical misinformation for so long, and they are so much better. And no, that's exactly what I'm saying, is the MSNBCs and CNNs to get ratings are using tactical misinformation from another standpoint by calling it horse dewormer.
Who was the doctor that was on Joe Rogan's show from CNN?
It was Sanjay Gupta.
And Joe Rogan really put him on the spot, and he didn't
put
know
him
how
on the
to
spot
answer.
because the powers that be, the CNN,
But he
who
didn't know
pays
how to
his paycheck.
respond. He looked like a complete idiot.
That's not because his information is bad. It's because like me, he's put in a situation where he can't win.
All right.
Exactly. He's because Sanjay was in an undefensible position, just like Corey, and because they've said they've been part of something that has been misinformation intentionally to scare people.
Not because his facts are wrong, but because he's shouted down and he doesn't know as much as the other guy.
Well, again, Sanjay probably knows more about medicine than Joe
Well, that's
Rogan.
true, yeah.
Okay, but Joe Rogan knows more about how to be a host and do those things. So of course he's going to win because he has experience. Okay, that's where debate techniques and all these things come in. And if you want, there's a goal of whether you want to win or whether you want to get better knowledge out there. So what happened with Sanjay is he was in an indefensible position because he hadn't come out and said, "Listen, ivermectin is a Nobel Prize winning medicine for humans. We need to call it a medicine, and not a horse dewormer, because horse dewormer is meant to spread fear and hatred in the world, and that's what CNN is part of. Just like Fox is better at spreading fear and hatred. Fear and hatred sells. Okay, and so and that's where we need to be. Everybody is to see through. Why does CNN do that? For ratings, okay?
For ratings. All right, Dr. G, it's that time. I don't mean to cut you off. It's start your day off right with Corey and Dr. G. It's that time. Everybody has to get to work. So we found out a couple of things today. Things are done for ratings. Right. Corey still doesn't have his facts wrong. He likes to blame other people if they're a little wrong.
You were going to rank me over the coals over the Alec Baldwin thing.
You know what? We didn't get there. We have another day for that. You gave me bad dreams last night, Leventon. I'm very upset with you. But Butch, what's going on, Butch Patrick? I hope that annoyed you, this story, Corey, as much as you annoyed me in my dreams. Did it annoy you? That story? Corey?
Yeah, of course it did, because the accused of murder means that a district
There's a docu-series about the Blues Brothers that's in the works. That should be good. All righty.
I love the Blues Brothers.
I love the Blues Brothers too. That's a guy I want to get on the show, is Dan Aykroyd. But
I don't think that's going to be good. You know why?
Why?
Because in order to get the access to Dan Aykroyd, what they had to do is probably show like the modern version of the Blues Brothers, and you need a lot of Jim Belushi in there. No one wants to see Jim Belushi doing that.
Well, I think they're working with Belushi's wife, the estate. So I think it might be pretty good, and I think he's all on board with it, Dan. So
I think the first third will be great, and then 2/3 will be dedicated to the Jim Belushi
there
version.
You go,
and
Debbie
John
Downer.
Goodman. Nobody cares about them. No, guys, nobody cares about them.
All right, everybody, you can find Corey's handsome face on his Facebook, where he'll fight with you, and you could spend money and get nothing. You could go on Mondays at 9 a.m. to find Dr. G on IG, Instagram. He talks to you about health, wellness, and all that good stuff. And me, you know where I am, baby. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. We will see you Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I got Bob Gruen today. I'm going to be interviewing Leviton. What do you think about that, huh?
Who?
Bob Gruen. He's coming on my...
You got Bob Gruen?
That's right, this afternoon. 11 a.m. He's coming on to talk with ADIKA.
That's great.
Is he part of a musical group I don't know about?
No, Gruen was a rock photographer. He was like Lennon's personal favorite.
Yeah. He actually wrote a book, Right Place, Right Time. We're going to talk about Bob's new book, and then I'll release it when it's going to come out, but it's going to be an interview, and we're going to talk about the CBGBs, the music, and all this good stuff. John Sebastian I had on from Love and Spoonful, and check it out. He's coming back on. I'm going to finish. We did an hour and 50-minute interview, and we're going to do more Saturday afternoon.
A whole plateful.
John Sebastian, and let me tell Dr. G, lovely guy, and one of the best pop songwriters in the world. He played harmonica on Roadhouse Blues. Did you know that in the Doors?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But Dr. G, you know who he is. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Absolutely.
Everybody, we'll see you here later.
Old school, I know that. Yeah.
We got a lot of good stuff coming up on Coffee Talk and Talking Wax. So tell your friends to subscribe to this, and that you're friends with me and the people that think I don't have it going on. Oh!
It's Coffee Talk with the Tika. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here with Stefan and all his friends.
Give us a thumbs up, too, if you enjoyed today's show, and subscribe over somewhere down below. And Leventon, if you have any questions for Bob, please tell me. I'll put them in today's interview.
Oh, Bob Gruen. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Think about it. And check out that John Lennon one on Talking Wax that Corey and I did.
This is what I would ask him.
What?
Does he believe the Yoko Ono version of history or the May Pang version? Because he was friends with both of them.
Yeah. He also bought John Lennon that New York City shirt that he wore. You knew that,
Yeah.
right? That one you knew. Okay. We'll see you guys all
Hey,
later.
there's a special thing that Miranda wanted me to pass on. That
Yeah.
for only for Coffee Talk people, there's $10 off of $100 or more purchases if you put in Halloween 10, and there's free shipping as well. Okay, so this
Oh.
is from Miranda, and I was supposed to share this, and I didn't get a chance to work it in because
You got crazy. Okay, so
because I did get crazy. Sorry about
go
that.
to
everybody.
middlepathmedicine.com
And you
get
go
a
to the retail
discount
story
code,
is Halloween 10.
Halloween
And
10.
you get $10 off of $100 or more purchase plus free shipping. So that's through October 31st.
All right, we'll put
That's
that in the
straight from Miranda, and I was supposed to
put
pass
the
it
link
on.
in
and I
the
didn't.
description. Everybody check that out. We'll